Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 2 of the Spartan podcast, your source for all things Spartans, as we get set to begin another great week of Spartan athletics. Case Western Reserve University in full blast now with fall sports, and we'll get you updated on all of that here, as well as another great interview with one of our student athletes, Zach Broujos of the men's soccer team. We'll be talking to him a little bit later. How's everyone doing today? I'm John Schwartz, Sports Information Director at Case Western Reserve, and let's get you started. A bit of a slower week in some senses here for Case Western Reserve athletics, with both football and cross country off for the week. Football will be back in action at Grove City Saturday at 7. Cross country returning to action this weekend as well. They'll be back in action on Saturday at the Yellow Jacket Invite in Rochester on Saturday, and then some of the squad will be headed to the Barron Invite in Barron, Pennsylvania. That also on Saturday. But plenty of action here, both at the Veal Center and DeSanto Field for Case Western Reserve athletics. Let's start it off with volleyball, which improved to 8-0 with a big 5-0 week, including 4 5-set victories, so some long matches for the volleyball team. On Wednesday, a 3-2 win for Case Western Reserve Volleyball over John Carroll in their home opener. And then they followed that up with a 4-0 record of the Marcia French Invite. They had 3-2 wins over RIT, a very good Berry team, and also Bethany College. And then a 3-1 win over Defiance as well to win the Marcia French Invite. Freshman Haley Sims, really nice weekend. She was named to the All-Tournament team and also was named the University Athletic Association Athlete of the Week this week. The team will be back in action on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. They'll be at Mount Union and then at the Bishop Invite at Ohio Wesleyan University this Friday and Saturday. The Case Western Reserve women's soccer team had 2 pretty thrilling wins to improve to 3-0-1 overall in the season. On Tuesday, they came from behind to top Kenyon 2-1. Amy Lindbergh with the game-tying penalty kick in the 52nd minute. And then Melanie Kakura, really nice game-winning goal in the 89th minute. If you haven't seen it yet, go online to the website. You'll be able to see video of that. But a very nice goal for Kakura to win the game for the Spartans over Kenyon on Tuesday. On Saturday, it was Lindbergh and Kakura again in a 3-1 win over Allegheny. Once again, the Spartans headed into halftime trailing 3-1. Trailing 1-0. But a game-tying goal by Kakura in the 49th minute was able to even the score. And then Amy Lindbergh with goals in the 61st minute to win it, and then in the 90th minute to secure the victory. She now has 4 goals on the season. That is second in the conference. And she is off to a great start to her year, Amy Lindbergh is. The team will be back home on Wednesday at 7:30 to face Baldwin Wallace, and then we'll travel to Ohio Northern on Saturday at 4 p.m. Men's soccer with a win and a loss during the week. Started the week off on Wednesday with a 4-0 victory over Baldwin Wallace. Alex Bessel, Brady Dalton, Josh Prosser, and Jake Mitchum all scored in the game for that 4-0 win. Nice defensive effort by the goalkeeper, Thomas Nolan, as well. He made a career-high 4 saves and a shutout win. Terrific job by Nolan, the senior keeper. On Sunday, the team suffered a 2-1 loss to a good DePaul team, ranked 17th in the country. The Spartans trailed 1-0 at the half, but Jacob Grindell tied the game in the 59th minute. However, a penalty kick was awarded to the Tigers in the 86th minute, successfully converted by DePaul, and that ended up being the difference in Sunday's 2-1 loss. The team will begin a 4-match road trip, beginning with a match against Hiram on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m., and then the Spartans back in action. They'll also be at Ohio Northern Saturday at 7 p.m. to wrap up their week. Also in action, women's tennis began their non-conventional season here, opening up at the Oberlin Invitational this weekend. Senior Kennedy Mulholland went 3-0 in singles play, 2-1 in doubles action to pace the Spartans during the weekend. The team will continue practicing before returning to action at the ITA Regionals in Kalamazoo, Michigan from September 30th through October 2nd. And then also this week, men's tennis will open up. They'll be at the Greater Cincinnati Invitational as well as the Oberlin Invitational coming up this weekend. So men's tennis getting things started for their non-conventional season. Earlier this week, we had a chance to catch up with Case Western Reserve University senior men's soccer player, defensive player Zach Broujos, who spoke to us about the team's play, both last season and this season, how he got started with soccer, and some of the things he's doing off the field. And so without further ado, Here is our interview with Zach Broujos. Zach, thanks for joining us today for the second edition of the Spartan podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Well, kind of start off from the very beginning here, but tell us a little bit about how you started playing soccer, when you started playing. Give us a little bit about your athletic background.
So I started playing when I was about 5 years old. My dad played for the University of Pittsburgh. He was a goalie, and then my uncle actually played professionally in Ireland. He was a goalie. So I kind of had it in my blood and started playing. I'm not a goalie, so I didn't follow in that track, but I definitely stuck with the soccer aspect and been playing since I was 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, so, you mentioned, because sometimes people just fall into soccer. I think it's not, probably as well, it's not the prototypical American sport a lot.
Definitely not.
But you mentioned it was in your blood, so you've always been a soccer player, I take it, and not another sport.
Yeah, I've been around soccer since a very young age, but I also played baseball and basketball, and obviously I had to drop the basketball because it was in the same season as indoor soccer when it started getting competitive up at 6th, 7th grade. That we had to choose which sport you wanted to stick with, and I ended up choosing soccer and definitely made the right decision.
The one thing I always love asking people who play, and whatever level you play at a college, you're pretty good. You may not be the best player on it, but you're pretty good compared to most. Mm-hmm. At what point in your life did you realize, like, hey, I'm a pretty good soccer player. This is something I can do going forward into college?
I'd say it was when I was in high school. I started going to the college camps to get recruited, and I went to some big D1 camps, and I kind of realized that I wasn't a D1 player. And then after going to some of the smaller camps and seeing that I could definitely play was when I know I really started to focus and own in on getting to play college soccer. That was what I wanted to do in life.
And that kind of leads into my next question here is, how did you end up choosing Case Western Reserve to come play soccer?
Yeah, so I was down to 2 schools for soccer, and then a third just not playing at all. And it was between Case and NYU, and I kind of made that decision. I went on 2 visits and kind of enjoyed Case. It was definitely my favorite, so stuck with that, and I was very happy with it.
Very cool. So you mentioned, growing up in Pittsburgh or the Pittsburgh area. I don't know. Are there professional soccer teams in Pittsburgh that you can follow, that you can root for, or is it do you kind of have to search out the European League teams?
Yeah, the big thing in Pittsburgh was always when some professional teams would come to play at Heinz Field. So I remember when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, Roma from Italy and Chelsea came and played. So I got to go see that game at Heinz Field. We made a 5-hour drive to Philly to see Barcelona, Manchester United. So the lack of professional soccer was, you could see it, and kind of stunk to have to drive. But
yeah, because I don't even think there aren't even any of the smaller leagues that are there, right? The NASL isn't there.
No, there is an NASL team.
Okay.
It's NASL or PDL. I'm not sure. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds, but
okay.
They actually got a really nice stadium, so we kind of got to experience that towards the end of my high school.
Did you ever get to watch any pit soccer as well? Or
yeah, my dad would always take me to those games because they had a certain alumni event, and my dad would just take me and I'd tag along. And they were fun to watch, but they weren't too competitive in the D1 environment. So. Okay.
Well, I got to tell you, you play one of my favorite positions to watch on the soccer field, and that's outside back. Yep. Because you kind of get to do a little bit of everything. And again, I was watching you in the game yesterday, but it gives you an opportunity to really use the sideline to your advantage, to really, almost stream the ball from the backfield all the way up front. Tell us a little bit about that position, and have you always played it? Is it something you kind of morphed into as you came to college?
Yeah, so I played towards the end of my high school career, and when I got the phone call from Brandon asking what position I played, I was playing outside back at the time, but that was my first few weeks, and for some reason I said that to him, and I stuck with it, and yeah, so Brandon's big on playing outside backs higher up the field, and I've kind of used that to my advantage, and we've played a great system having the inside or the outside mids tuck in, and that lets me get higher. So yeah, I really got in shape this summer, and tried to use that to my advantage, but it helped a lot.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch, especially when you get a little bit of room on that outside. You get to really take advantage of the sideline. Is that something, when you see that sideline open, you have the ball and you can run 30, 40 yards downfield with it, get a little bit of excitement, I guess, when you see that?
Yeah, just because probably the biggest skill set I have is my speed, so I've been trying to use that as much as I can. I might not have the best touch on the team or best shot, so I've been, when I see the sideline open, I kind of just use that for my speed.
Last season, you guys had a fantastic year. Fell just short of making the NCAA tournament. We're probably more qualified than a lot of teams that got in with their team's automatic bid, or with their leagues, I should say, automatic bid. If you can talk a little bit about that feeling, just missing the tournament, and then the motivation that it has coming into this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough when you finish second in the hardest conference in the country, and they take teams 1, 3, 5, or 1, 3, 4, and 6, but they don't take you. So, but I think Brandon's done a great job of managing our expectations with that. We all came in kind of mad that we didn't make the tournament. So, I mean, we're all working towards that this year, which is the main goal of every team. But I think Brandon's done a good job of, saying that although that's the end goal, we need to take it game by game, and hopefully we'll get there.
Do you guys kind of like playing with a chip on your shoulder as a team? Is that something you kind of look out for?
Absolutely, because not only do we have a tough schedule, I mean, it's as you saw yesterday in the game, some of the calls don't go our way. So when we come in and we see that we have probably the toughest schedule in the country, it kind of gets everyone pumped up about that. We get to go into each game and say this is another chance for us to prove that we can make the tournament.
Well, I saw yesterday's game, but I was also up in the press box on Saturday and watching you guys practice and watching Coach Bianco lead the practice. And if you can, talk a little bit about Coach Brandon Bianco, because it seems like, A, you guys really enjoy playing for him, and then B, he seems to really enjoy the organizational aspect of it. And talk a little bit about him and your experiences with him here.
Yeah, he reminds me exactly of my dad. He is extremely organized. When we have all these different drills that have a certain amount of minutes, certain amount of time. Everything is right to a T, and he does an excellent job of making sure that we stick to that plan, and that provides structure for not only on the field but then off the field. When we have homework assignments or tests, he makes sure that we have our planner that has every practice, flight, everything laid out for us. So he's done an amazing job so far with that.
Your personality on the field, and again, got a chance to watch it a little bit yesterday as well, but you're a team captain. It seems like you've really taken that on in terms of the organization, communicating with your team, and got a chance to see that yesterday. Is that something that, I mean, obviously you take it seriously, but is that something that you really relish in, having that leadership role on the field?
Yeah, I was a captain in high school, but that obviously wasn't to the caliber of being a captain in college. And Brandon sat down with Rachel and I in the spring, kind of talked about how we lost, Chris Svecko, an All-American, and 3-4 other starters that we're going to need to replace this year, and how as seniors we need to step up and motivate the younger kids, because they'd never seen anything like that. The freshmen came into a program that had an All-American and a team that finished 13-4-1. So then the following year, what are they going to expect? So Rachel and I, he sat down with us and told, we need to get this team on the right page, work hard in the spring, and get us to the point where we need to be for the fall.
Absolutely. We spoke about this also a little bit before, but the strength of schedule this year, and you guys are playing. If it isn't the hardest schedule in the country, it's got to be one of the top 5 for sure. Yep. Is that something you relish in? Is that a challenge you look forward to each and every game, going out and playing a team that you could see again in November if you make the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, when he showed us, was it preseason? I think he showed us the schedule, and we kind of talked about it, and I was extremely excited that we were going to be able to play some of these teams. Last year, we were supposed to play Kenyon when they were number 1 in the country, and that got canceled, and everyone's just like, oh, how can we not play them right now? Like, this is the peak of our season. And then this year we get to play teams like Kenyon, DePaul yesterday, Lycoming, Brandeis, all teams that are top 25 in the country that, when we get to go into those games, it's just going to be a completely different feel.
Yeah, well, and it's a challenging non-conference schedule. You alluded to Brandeis as well, but playing in the UAA and having that ability, and I think, if you can't talk about two sides of it, obviously on the field you're playing some of the best teams in the country, but also you get to go to a lot of different cities. You've been to, of the 7 other UAA schools, and us included, it's 8 unbelievable cities that if you went to a lot of places you wouldn't get to see. If you can, tell us a little bit about your collegiate experience playing in this conference, both athletically and lifestyle, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the biggest recruiting aspects that, coaches can use because, I mean, not every conference can say that they get to travel to New York, Chicago, Boston, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, St. Louis every year. And, those kind of things, make us happy because we show up to New York on a Friday night and get to go see the city and then play and win a game on Saturday and come home Saturday night. It's one of the cool things you get to experience with your team. I mean, you're with some of your best friends and teammates that you've been around for so long that when you get to go and experience these big cities and hopefully go win games, that it's something you can't describe. But then on the field, I mean, it's the toughest conference by far. I mean, you each game you can play on paper the worst team in the conference, and they can go beat the best team 4-0. I mean, every game is something different because every team's strong and deep, so it's a fun conference to play in.
Yeah, absolutely. So turn our attention now to off the field stuff and tell us a little bit about what you did last summer and kind of your future plans going forward after you graduate.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of funny that the UAA kind of led me into this because I went and visited when we played NYU. It was my first time in New York City, and I mean I fell in love with it, how big it was, all the action going on. So I really wanted to find an internship in New York City. So I interviewed with all the Big Four firms, and I got an offer from PricewaterhouseCoopers that I accepted in New York City as a real estate tax intern. So did that this past summer and accepted my offer about, I think, a week and a half ago today. So really looking forward to going back to that city.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
That's
you,
awesome,
thank you.
Zach. Okay, so, and we're going to wrap up the interview with, it's basically the same 5 questions that we ask everyone. We're calling it the Spartan 5, so give everyone an idea, a little bit more about your personality, a little bit about the team's personality here. So with the Spartan 5, first thing we're going to ask you, favorite place to go on campus?
Ooh, favorite place to go on campus? Probably would have to be Jolly Scholar. I mean, they got good wings and when you're able to go and do all-you-can-eat wings on a Sunday for the NFL games, that's a good deal.
I went there and for those of those people who may be listening and not know, I was there for the first time about 2-3 weeks ago, and the Jolly Scholar is unbelievable. Like, I don't know how many campuses have a sports bar right in the middle of the campus. Basically.
Yeah, it's right there, and I mean, I think the all-you-can-eat wings is like we wake up on a Sunday and we don't really want to cook, and then we can hold it off till 1 o'clock and then go get the all-you-can-eat wings. So
yeah, it's an awesome setup over there. And this leads into question number 2: your favorite meal to go get in Cleveland?
I'm a big B-Spot fan.
Okay.
Over in Chagrin Falls, yeah. So they have amazing burgers. I actually went there last night. So
very cool.
Very good place.
Funniest person on the Case Western Reserve University men's soccer team?
I mean, I'd definitely say myself, but I'm going to have to go with Rasheal Shaw.
Okay, Rasheal seems kind of quiet just watching him.
Yeah, when you see him on the field, he's obviously very serious and kind of quiet, but then outside of the field, he's hilarious.
Very cool.
He's a good roommate.
Best road trip moment that you've had during your time on the team?
Best road trip moment was when actually Rasheal pulled out these sunglasses and started rapping, and then everyone on the team got in on it, including the quiet freshman.
What trip was this on?
I believe it was to Wilmington.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a decent drive, but everyone got in on it, even the quiet freshmen that didn't want to say anything. We made them do it, and it was a fun time.
Very cool. And last question: your favorite athletic experience as a Spartan?
As a Spartan, hopefully it's going to be making the tournament this year, but I'd say last year when we won against Carnegie Mellon in double overtime, we've been in, I think, double-digit overtime games since I've been here, and we haven't won one up until that game. So I think that was something that we really, really, really wanted, and we got it because they're our biggest rival, so it was a great win.
And it seemed like there was a little bit of an aspect, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but a little bit of an aspect of sending some of those seniors from last year out with a win too in that game.
Yeah, I mean, especially in the fact that before the game, we kind of, especially because the previous weekend we didn't perform and we lost those 2 games that we kind of knew we were kind of expecting to not make the tournament. So winning that game was just a huge send off to them that even though we couldn't make the tournament, they just beat the rivals that we hadn't beaten the last 3 years. So.
Yeah.
something that I think they appreciated and definitely took in.
For sure, for sure. Well, Zach, thank you for joining us. Case Western Reserve men's soccer team back in action. You guys begin a little bit of a road trip here. So Wednesday at Hiram, 7:30. And then you'll be back, and actually the game that you spoke about a little bit earlier, next home game against Kenyon. I think they started the season ranked 8th in the country, and that'll be September 27th at 7:30 at the Santo Field. So we look forward to seeing you guys in that one.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.